Are you still thinking about Travis's interview last week? About one of his main ways to cure Podfade was to get those download numbers up, even if we had to force them? This is so true. I have a client who is bringing in over $1 million from her show, yet she's so frustrated because her numbers aren't growing up every month. She's making $1 million off of her show, yet her numbers aren't going up, so she's thinking about pod fading out. I just take that in for a moment. It's so discouraging when we don't see our numbers going up, when we see numbers going down and going up. And I want to talk about some of the reasons. Travis's interview really woke me up. We need to know our why. We need to be excited. We sometimes need that pause and that rebrand or that little spike. So if you didn't check it out, it went out last Thursday. So go back to the last episode. But I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the numbers. I want to talk about how to push through, because this is legacy that we're building. We're building something that can last a lifetime. And I really want you to start looking at the numbers on social media. And are you actually getting a return on them? Because my guess is you're not. So without further ado, let's just go. Welcome to the podcast about podcasting, where you guessed it, we're talking all things podcasting, but not just in the sense of strategy of how to launch, grow, and monetize your show. Of course, you're going to get that, but we're going deep into how podcasting can actually help you build your community, build your confidence, and if you're willing to lean deep into this platform, it can be the ticket to the life of your dreams, because it'll inspire you to go deeper, to get to know yourself. And as we know, success starts from within. If you are ready to stop being a ripple in this world and bust out your tsunami of change you know you were made for, it's podcasting for your soul. I'm your host, Jenn Dragonette, so let's dig in. I don't know why this interview just keeps sticking with me. And it's compelled me to do a lot of crazy things in the last 2 weeks since the interview, since re-editing it, launching it, like buying downloads. So many podcasters are approached with these people that say, hey, I'll get you all this organic traffic. They're real people. They're not bots and yada, 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 right? Well, does that stuff actually work? I don't know, but you know what I did as a service to you? I actually said yes to one of those people, and I am letting them run with this podcast for the next month. So starting on the 12th, she dug in and my numbers are going up a lot, guys. We're getting like 600 downloads an episode. But here's the thing. After my month of paying her, so, in March, I will report back. Are those numbers going to stay or are they going to disappear? Just like our email list, people sign up, people unsubscribe, people change. But I'm going to say for what I paid, if I can get an extra 20 to 30 downloads per episode, I'm all for it. And why I'm talking about this is because this is something that there's so much fantasy out there. There's so much bait and switch out there. There's so much of not getting to actually see the behind the scenes that we've really done ourselves a disservice for business owners, for micro influencers, for all these people, because we're trying to do things like the big guy. We're trying to mimic a podcast that's been out since 2017 when there were barely any shows, and they've worked and built the brand. And it's so discouraging. It's so discouraging when you sit there. And my first show, I looked at 30 to 40 downloads every episode for a year and a half. It wasn't growing. But in that year and a half, you know what happened? I've had a steady flow of income coming in. With 30 to 45 downloads or 30 to 40 downloads on my last show, I was still bringing in a decent part-time income. Was it something I could be like, yeah, I'm on my own, everything's great, everything's perfect? No. But the thing that I was focused on was my little tiny download numbers. And we do this a lot. We do this in social media. We do this in all areas. How do we disconnect our worth, our value, our excitement for our shows from our stats? Really? You gotta go into this knowing your why. You gotta go into this knowing why you're doing this, how you're serving, and know that this is the long game. Again, another thing that Travis brought up was that there's 4 million index podcasts, but there's something like 200 to 250,000 active podcasts. So if you're a podcaster out there and you've made it past 30 episodes, let's just clap you up, because you are in the top like 20% of podcasts, because everybody else has given up. You're in it. You figured it out. So many people don't give podcasting the chance because they toe dip in. They put this out there. And they're like, oh my goodness, it's not working. It's not growing. I've done 8 episodes. I'm checking out. But did you go into it with a good strategy? Did you go into it with a good why? Did you position it? Did you niche down? Yeah, there's a lot of noise out there. So you need to be very focused on how you are serving. And sometimes you overserve. And to me, it makes me sad that there's so many amazing messages out there and so many amazing humans with so much magic that just get so discouraged by the numbers. Whether that's your download numbers, that's your likes, that's your follows, that's your whatever. It just makes me sad. And it makes me sad to see such great podcasts fade out and then go back to social media thinking that's the be all end all. Well, I've had 2 clients now have their accounts completely hacked that they've lost. One of them lost over, I want to say 11,000 followers that she grew organically. One lost over 17,000 followers that she grew organically. And my other client got locked out of her account that has 40,000 clients for a week. She didn't lose it completely, and the first 2 did. But it's like, you can't walk up to an influencer, somebody online that hasn't been locked out or completely lost and had to start over. That's the cool thing about podcasting, is it's a legacy. You know, my other show, Happy 3rd Birthday, Feed Your Business with Love, that content that I put out in early 2020 is still getting downloads every month. That show 100% is organic. I've never paid for advertising. I've never done anything with it. That's top 5% show. It's growing. That podcast makes, from that show, I was able to make and still make a consistent $4,000 months off that podcast. Just by building a network. Not by selling directly from it, but by building a network. There are so many things that you fail to recognize as a benefit of this show. And that's why I'm loving, I wasn't originally going to have guests, but I'm loving having guests come on to the show, because it really does shine light on some of the reasons people fail out. Which I'm really excited to announce that Ina, who is the queen, the person to monetize small audiences and to get clients from any size audience, she has agreed to do an interview. So you will be getting that soon on this podcast too, because I want you making money from your show. And there's so many ways you can make money. And so many of us think, using sponsors. But I see little tiny shows out there crowdfunding. That's something I'm going to start looking into, crowdfunding, because I am not fully versed in crowdfunding. But it's an effective way to generate revenue for your podcast. It does require planning and great way to execute it, but you can really make at least maybe your vacation fund or more as you grow. Private podcasts, great way to grow, memberships, all those things. But we always focus on, okay, I want to have 1 million downloads. Great. What does that 1 million downloads get you? I know so many people with huge social media followings, huge download numbers that aren't making money. You want to know what they feel like? Because I've had those conversations too. They feel miserable. They aren't connected. They aren't actually serving from their heart. They're just doing the thing. So I want to know, what kind of content do you want from me? How do you want me to serve you? Where are you struggling in your podcast journey? Are you not monetizing it? Do you want to know more about crowdfunding as I'm learning? Do you want to know more about how to sell your network marketing products, how to create good content, how to have premium content on a private podcast, how to have diversified revenue streams? Maybe you are to the point where you're like, I get 1,000 downloads an episode. I want to start thinking about podcasting and advertising. I want to know all the ways. Because there are pros and cons for every method you choose to grow your show, to make money from your show. It does take some strategy, and it takes you having your head in the game, not your ego, but the person who's like standing there next to you like, hey, I got this. You got to not be afraid of fear. You got to look fear in the face and say, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, because on the other side of that wall of fear is where the magic's going to happen. That's where that flow is going to happen. But if you're so stuck in the fear of, I'm not going to serve enough people, I'm not going to do enough, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, really think about it. How many clients do you actually need a year based off of your current signature offer? If you don't have a signature offer, we've got a lot more to talk about. Based off of your current signature offer or service or product, how many clients do you need to make your first I'm happy, I'm content revenue goal? How many clients do you need to get to that next one? For me, in my production business, to meet my minimum standard, I only need 6 clients. I need 6 aligned clients paying the rates that I need, that I deserve, that come with the new quality of service that I'm bringing as I grow. I only need 6 clients. All right. So if I have a show of 50 people, you don't think I can convert 6 people? Really start thinking about it. If you have a show with 100 listeners, great. How many of those people do you need to turn into clients? Focus on serving the hell out of those people so that they come into your next level. Whether that's a funnel of, let's have a phone call, come into my membership, come into my one-on-one coaching, come into my mastermind. Really start thinking about those numbers. Don't let those numbers discourage you. But if you do need the little ego stroke and the ego boost, go on Fiverr. There's some people on there for $5 or $10. We'll get you some downloads. I have no idea if they're going to stick around. Again, I'm trying it for you. But if that's the problem and that is what you're seeing and that is something that will help you stick around, it will be worth that little bit of money if that's what your ego needs to move forward. Because giving up is a disservice to you. It's you giving up on your dreams. It's you giving up on yourself. You saying, I'm not worthy. I can't do this. You can't. But not everybody's meant to be a podcaster. And that's something we need to look at too, is not every person is made for every strategy. But if you loved your show from the beginning, you love talking, you love sharing, you love serving, you love entertaining via audio, then yeah, let's go all in on podcasting and do what we need to do to make sure that you stay in the game. So I am fully here for you 100%. If you are really struggling with this, come join me for a podcast CPR audit. What this is, 30 minutes of my time where I look at your podcast, we realign, we work through how you can monetize, we come up with some content ideas, and these are really 30 minutes of my time coaching you. It is not a pitch. If you want to work with me afterwards because you found massive value and you're like, hey, Jen, that 30 minutes was mind-blowing. My podcast is growing. What's next? Great. I am like the world's worst salesperson, and I'll be the first to admit it. But you know what? It's built my business, and I've been able to build my business serving first and then having people come back and ask me, where can I pay you because I need more? So that's fully a free 30 minutes with me, looking at your podcast, looking at your offer, seeing how we can optimize it so that you can stop feeling this frustration, so that you can reignite that passion, so that we can resuscitate that flatlined revenue with a little CPR. So you can find that at podcastcpr.com. So go out, make today amazing, because you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are worthy. And guess what? If you stick with this, your legacy will create that tsunami of change that you desire. because you are taking a stand right now to not be a ripple, and you're ready to bust out your tsunami of change. So go out and do it.